noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesdays with Tommy. It is Tuesday, April 29th, 6 p.m. ish. Yeah, it was a minute or two late. Yes, hello there. Another night. And also, hello there, Ginny. How are you guys doing tonight? Um, so tonight, I want to talk about the upcoming conclave. Um, just give a little bit of insight about what's going on and what narratives are being pushed right now. Because I'm sure most people, like myself, up until recently, had no idea how conclave works or what's going on, or any of that. Because I never really cared before. Uh, I wasn't Catholic until recently, and then this is the first conclave of my Catholic life. So I figure, well, what is this about? How do these guys pick the Pope? So we're gonna kind of look into. I'm gonna go over a few tweets here because I'm no expert on this. This is just some stuff I looked into to just kind of understand what's going on. I figured I'd share some of it with you guys. But yeah, I'm gonna just kind of talk about when does it start? What to expect? Like, how does it start? What goes on that first day, and then also some of the key things being discussed right now. Like the media is definitely pushing a narrative, and we'll get into that, and how it's kind of dumb, along with the betting markets on this kind of thing, and just go over kind of the two key factions right now that are going back and forth for the papacy. So yeah, Northern Knights, this isn't the first conclave of my lifetime. This is just the first conclave that I'm Catholic and care. I never really cared too much about the Pope. I remember when Benedict, was elected Pope. I remember, like, oh, new Pope's Benedict. Okay, I don't know how that worked, but we got a new Pope. And then I remember Benedict when he was. So yeah, Francis and Benedict. I both remember the conclaves happening in my lifetime. Um, no, JP2 was in the 70s. That was before my lifetime. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So this would be the third of my lifetime as well, but first one I actually paid attention to. First one I actually cared to ask, what are they doing? So, with that being said, sorry, I'm gonna smoke my pipe while we do this, and it's tough to talk and smoke a pipe at the same time. So, let's share this one first. Oh, I should have probably set this up already to my share screen and all that stuff. No, no, that's the wrong button. Sorry, guys, I'm completely unprepared. Now, I think, yes, now everything should be good. So this is from Cardinal Ga. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I'm not familiar with this man personally. So, dear brothers and sisters in Christ, the Cardinals will be entering into the conclave on 7 May to elect a new pope. Presently, the College of Cardinals is gathering daily in general congregation to hear views and assessment on respective cardinals of the situation in our church today and what the church needs to do after Pope Francis. Hence, it is urgent and important that you all pray for us so that we discern what kind of pope the church needs in this present day, because every pope brings with him his own charisms. Please pray that we will choose the right candidate to be successor of St. Peter to lead the church in this complex world. So I encourage you to organize novenas, rosary, and divine mercy devotions to pray fervently, unceasingly for the cardinals, to be guided by the Holy Spirit to elect a good, holy, compassionate, wise, and strong pope who will not only be a shepherd after the heart of Christ, but also courageous in defending the faith handed down through the church through the ages. So this is the announcement that the conclave is going to be on May 7th. And that in itself is semi important, mainly because it kind of shows, because the people in the Vatican, we would call the bureaucrats of the Vatican. You know, if you think of this as the U.S. government, U.S. elections, these are the bureaucrats, people appointed by Francis that want to continue on the Francis pontificate. They want to elect somebody just like Francis, so they can all keep their jobs and they can keep lining their pockets, and their mission can keep going forward. uh, and they're going to want to do. They would have wanted to do this conclave the soonest, as soon as humanly possible, which would have been, I don't know, a few days before this, maybe a week. But yeah, they wanted to get this done as soon as possible, and this is kind of it being pushed back to May 7th. Kind of seems like the Cardinals being like, no, 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 there's no Pope here to protect you anymore. Like, we are in charge. You don't call the shots. You know, the man who appointed you is no longer here, so you no longer have any power. So that's, and again, I don't know this 100% to be true, but this is with what people that I believe what they say are saying is that this date was clearly a fu, if you would, to certain people in the Vatican, saying, no, 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 we are in charge now. We will elect the next pope. You have no say in this. So, you know, if that's the case, good. And then coming off of that, I have this post here from Dr. Taylor Marshall. Let me share this with you guys. So timeline for the conclave and papal election and internal discussions. So here's kind of how it's going to go down on Wednesday, May 7th. At 10 a.m., there's the Mass for the election of a Pope, celebrated by Giovanni Battista, Cardinal Ray, Dean of the College of Cardinals. He's a pro-Francis guy. Then at 4:30 p.m., Cardinal electors enter the Sistine Chapel for the conclave. The oath for the election of the Roman Pontiff. They will they will not likely elect a pope on this day, according to sources. Discussion among cardinals is whether or not to continue or reverse Francis's agenda. There are also discussions on whether Europe can be won back to the Catholic Church, and who would be the Pope able to accomplish this huge task. Who is the man? So that is sorry. that is kind of what's going to go down. They're going to, there's things they're going to discuss, um, and then they're going to take votes. And it's not there's no no, lay Catholics don't get to no, these bureaucrats, the insiders, the Vatican, they don't vote because they're not cardinals. It's really down to these there's 135 that are going to be voting, and it's down to these 135 cardinals behind closed doors, um, that elect the Pope. So it really is odd to me when I see betting markets and because the betting market odds over who's going to be the next pope, and I think Parolin is leading in that one, followed by Tegel, and these are all super liberal Francis types, that would absolutely go a step beyond, I believe, what Francis did when it came to a lot of, especially when it comes to the LBGTQ, the alphabet people. Um, I think that you would wind up seeing with some of these super liberal people, you would see them trying to get female priests and gay marriages in the church and stuff like that. So hopefully these people don't get elected, but you know I don't know, it's going to be what it's going to be. But with that being said, I don't understand the betting markets and the news, the media trying to put out stuff to try to get Catholics swayed one way or the next. Like, Catholics don't vote for the Pope. It doesn't matter the news articles you put out and how you make Catholics feel. If you can trick some of them, or if you have the ones that are sympathetic, there's lots. There are lots of boomer Catholics that loved the whole Francis pontificate and the women should be priests and gays should be okay in the church and this and that, typical boomer stuff. Um, so yeah, there's those people. I completely lost my train of thought there, people. I'm sorry. Um, but either way, yeah. So the media trying to sway these people, it doesn't make any sense to me because these people don't get to vote for the Pope. It's absurd to me. Uh, betting markets go off of what the media is saying, and the media is saying stuff that they have no clue about, and none of us have a say in it anyway. I don't understand what the big deal is. So, with that being said, let me get back out of here. Sorry, guys. What's the next thing I want to look at? So yeah, we can get into this. So one thing a lot of people don't realize about Catholicism, it is a worldwide religion. Let me share this. So the African cardinals form a significant voting bloc in the conclave. People forget about, Africa is a hugely Catholic country nowadays. Or it's a continent. It is getting there. It's not a country, the continent. So after cardinals from the Black Conclave, they want to select a pope who will stand against ideological colonization from the West with concepts like climate change, abortion, and gender ideology. The Africans want to keep all this out of the church. So that's a good thing. That's one thing on the good side. You do have the African bishops and cardinals and some of the Asian ones, and and then there's conservative ones scattered in and out. I guess a lot of people would consider Pizzaballa a conservative one. He covers, he's an Italian, but he covers the Middle East. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a block of people that want to go back. Uh, you know, some of us would like to go all the way back to Pius X, Pius XII, maybe, and others would be happy just to go back to Benedict. I I don't really care either way. You know what I mean? Like, let's go back to Benedict. Let's just go back to standard Catholic teachings, and offering of the traditional liturgy. You can still keep the Novus Ordo, you Novus Ordo people, if that's what your thing is. You want and you're a boomer or just a hardcore Novus Ordo person, then by all means keep your mask. I understand a lot of trads want to abolish it, but I just know you would run a bunch of people out of the church. I think you should keep the Novus Ordo and keep it the way it is, for the most part. Getting rid of the liturgical abuses in some churches, but you kind of leave the Novus Ordo as it is, and then you uh, kind of slowly integrate some Latin into it, some of the things from the old mass. You maybe do it ad orientem. Slowly you got to walk these people back to the tradition. These people that never knew it and aren't super about it, you know, this new thing of charismatic Catholics. They need to be walked off this ledge they're on. They need to be slowly brought back. You can't just cut them off and say, "Oh, everything you're doing is nonsense," and now you're going to go to this, mass from the Middle Ages. Like, it would be too much, and it would run them out of the church. You got to slowly walk them back off that edge and teach them what the real Catholicism is. Um, so I honestly would prefer Benedict over going all the way back to Pius the 12th right off the bat. Um, and honestly, any of these cardinals today, I know people are real big on Cardinal Sarah. He's no more than a Benedict. He's no Pius the 12th. He's no Pius the 10th. Um, None of these guys are, because they're from a modern age, and it's going to take a while to walk the church back till we have guys like that even available to become pope. Um, but like I said, that being said, the Africans have some voting power, so that's a good thing for traditional Catholicism. Um, so let's get into some of the like this news article here, and I don't want to give this guy's tweet much. The guy's a nonsense on his tweet, but um, so this is from the New York Times. As Cardinals prepare to elect a pope, one motto is unity. That's divisive. Um, some see the byword as a rallying call in a conservative campaign to reverse Francis, push for more inclusive church. So yeah, that is what most people in the conclave would hope to be hearing. You want to reverse some of the stuff from Francis. You want to go back to the traditional Catholic Church, um, that believed homosexuality is a sin, and that climate change is nonsense, or not even that climate change is nonsense. It's not even a question. It's a non-starter. You know what I mean? Like, God will take care. Like, we're not going to kill it. We're not going to send ourselves to extinction. It's not going to happen. So this whole "you're destroying the planet" thing is just nonsense. But anyway, uh, yeah, this whole climate change, LGBTQ, and female clergy thing is got to go away. We didn't get that far on most of it, but we can't. If we get another 13 years of a Francis, like, yeah, it will be a different church. It will no longer be the Catholic Church, I don't think. But although who knows? But yeah, so the New York Times is already posting hit pieces about conservative cardinals. Like, this is a U.S. election. Like, there's anything posting this article is going to do. Nobody reading this article gets to vote in this conclave. Okay, so I don't know what's the point of this. Are you just preparing your readers for those days of us enjoying the Pope because he wasn't really doing Christian things, um, is over, and now we're going to go back to having a holy Pope? Like, I don't know, you people aren't even Catholic. What do you care? So yeah, all these non-Catholic people, they know what's best for the Catholic Church. It's hilarious. Um, so off from there, do, do, do. Oh yeah, here's another one about that article we just talked about. So liberals are extremely worried the next pope will reverse the diversity of Francis papacy with calls for church unity. The New York Times. The New York Times worries that the call for unity at the conclave is divisive and a rallying call in a conservative campaign to reverse Francis's papacy. Ooh. It's hard to imagine a less offensive rallying cry, but in the era of Francis' most committed supporters, it rings as a code word for rolling back Francis' more inclusive version of Roman Catholic Church. The New York Times frets. New York Times. Yeah, so I don't know. You guys, you get the point. They're already starting with the fear mongering among the uh, more liberal Catholics, the Catholics, the cafeteria Catholics, as I would like to call them. Ones that like to pick and choose what doctrines and dogmas of the church they're going to follow and which ones that they get to decide are nonsense. Uh, I don't get people that think they can decide, like they can just pick and choose. Like it's all or nothing, guys. Either you believe it in this or you don't. I mean, you might as well go to a non-denominational church at that point. Because you get to decide, doctrine on things. You get to decide what God means by this and that, and you get to decide that he's probably meant this, or I don't think God would care about, like if you're that person, you're just gonna pick and choose. Then yeah, the pro-choice Catholics, um, just go be a non-denominational at that point. Sorry guys, I haven't been keeping up on the comments here. Betting markets for the Pope. Did they adopt Rule 34? Uh, no, it is you can be excommunicated from the church for betting on the Pope, but there are betting markets for the Pope right now. Yes, Catholics should not be placing bets because it is a instant excommunication. So don't do that, and it's not good for your mortal soul. But uh, but yeah, there is betting markets for the Pope. Yeah, this is just it's just par for the course. That's basically what they do. You know what I mean? And they take anything that you say and they make it out to be a horrible thing. Yeah. So then, along with getting back to what we're doing here, so along with the New York Times and the media, um, trying to, I don't know what they're trying to interfere with the conclave, I guess is how you could say it. Um, here's another. Let me show this real quick before I get to my other point. Um, But yeah, this is the media. The mainstream media have not yet understood the oath of rigorous secrecy the cardinals have sworn, and thus swarm the cardinals every day asking for details. Uh, General congregations continue this week with the conclave beginning May 7th. And yes, these people are not allowed to answer your questions. I don't. You think by now they would understand this, but the media is going to do anything they can to put their thumb on the scale here. Because that's just what they do. They're used to, you know, these aren't political elections that they're used to. They think they can throw opinions out there and sway voters. Where it's like, no, those guys that aren't even paying attention to what you're saying, they're the voters. We have no say in this, people. So anyway, along with the media, you also have French president trying to block Cardinal Sarah's path to papacy. And I've heard this at a couple of places, so this is definitely legit. But yes, French politicians have a history of interfering with papal conclaves. De Gaulle didn't want either Cyril Siri or Ottaviani to be elected after Pius XII died. See attached excerpt from Robert de Mette's Second Vatican Council. But yes, the French definitely have played a role in meddling in conclaves. The CIA also is as I have heard reports from Dr. Anthony Stein, who seems to have good information, that a lot of your more important countries or bigger countries, the UK, France, Spain, the US, China, um, parts of South and Central America, all their intelligence agencies have people at the Vatican right now trying to sway cardinals in one way or another, if they can get to them. Um, so there's a lot that happens here of people trying to put their thumbs on the scale. But at the end of the day, when they go into the conclave and they lock themselves in the Sistine Chapel, there's a secret vote, and that is it. So, um, yeah, yeah. There's been a few books written about it. Dr. Taylor Marshalls has done some talking on it too. Um, but yeah, the CIA has definitely been involved in this in the past. So you know, nothing will shock me. Is kind of where I'm at with this. Um, doesn't really matter which way the conclave goes. If it goes more traditional, I it won't shock me. I I think I think a lot of Catholics are done with what's the last 13 years. There's just been too much ambiguity, too much saying one thing here and saying another thing here. Except I'm not here to condemn Pope Francis. At the end of the day, the doctrine of the church has not changed. We still do not, gay people can't get married in the Catholic Church. We still proclaim it as a sin. The church does. The women can't be priests. They can't be deacons. They can't get ordained in any way. The one slight backward we went was we have altar girls now in some Novus Ordo churches, and that irritates me. But because I know where that leads, that's it. That's that foot in the door feminism gets. It starts there, and then they rip the door open. But at the end of the day, nothing changed there. So even though Francis said a lot of dumb things in front of cameras that were, and in interviews that would seem anti-Catholic, on stances on the rainbow people, the albigequitas, and women priests and gays, and although he said certain things to the media when speaking as the Pope to the faithful, he never crossed those lines. So thank God. Um, but I don't know that if another successor or some of these other guys like a Parolin or Tegel get in, I don't have the same confidence that they wouldn't cross those lines rather quickly too. So hopefully we swing back to tradition, but if we don't, it won't shock me because I know, people got, not all these cardinals are the greatest people. Let's just be honest, with the sex abuse scandals and the McCarricks of the world. Um, So it's not to say that intelligence agencies don't come in with tons of blackmail on a lot of these guys and say this is who you're going to make Pope because it goes with our globalist agenda. I don't know that's not going to happen either. I don't know. So I guess we'll all find out together, but just kind of going over how this all works. And then, so yeah, so these are some of the cardinals. And I believe this gentleman is too old to vote, but I believe he's one of those bureaucrat insiders because you can't, only cardinals under 80 years old can vote. So I don't believe Casper can vote, but I believe he is one of those bureaucrat insiders that, you know. But he says the people of God have already voted at the funeral and they have called for continuity with Francis. Like Francis is one of the lowest attended funerals of a modern pope or of a pope period, really. Like that's nonsense. Um, So yeah, Parolin, who a lot of the betting odds people say is favorite to be the Pope, has been criticized online for hosting Rabbi Shmuley at the Vatican recently. Shmuley is the author of the book Kosher Sex, the guy who has a sex toy company with his daughter. A weirdo. Um, yeah. So these are some of the guys that the media would like you to have as your next pope. But no, no. I honestly, I really, I'm praying for Pizza Bala because I think he will be that great, slowly walk the people back towards tradition that need it walked back slowly. But then, and he's also young. He'll have 30 years of Pizza Bala if he were to become pope. He's got 30 years to slowly walk these people back, you know, to open up the floodgates to the, and this guy's the the apostolics something of Jerusalem. So I mean, he spends all of his time in the Holy Land. He loves the traditional liturgy. He would reinstate it to anywhere that wanted it, and he would slowly walk everybody back towards tradition. And he'd have 30 years to do it. So I really hope it is him. But we're gonna get who we're gonna get. Yeah. So now here's Cardinal Dolan. Now Cardinal Dolan is not what anybody would call a conservative. He is the Archbishop of New York. So, he's very much I don't know if he's as bad as the Supich, but he's very much like Supich. If anybody you guys know who Cardinal Supich is, the Archbishop of Chicago. But and these are what people would call a Bergoglian, somebody who is very liberal in the church. But even Cardinal Dolan here had this to say. Let me share this. Says, when asked what he will be looking for next pope, Cardinal Dolan said, "The warm heart of Francis with what could I say? More clarity in teaching and more refinement of the church's tradition, more digging in the treasures of the past." So even some of these guys that you would think, who a lot of people will tell you, oh, these guys are guaranteed to vote for a Francis II. I don't necessarily know that. I think a lot of these guys realize it went a little too far, and it's time to reel it back. Because you shouldn't want the world to like you. If the world, I've said this a million times, you guys, I know you've heard me say it. Jesus said they will hate you because they hated me first. So if the world's not hating you, then you are not doing Christianity the correct way, sir. Yeah, that's why we have to pray together for God to intervene. Yes, Gene. Let me see. Is there anything else here I wanted to go over, or I think that might do it? Yeah, no, I don't need to show that. Oh yeah, and then this I wanted to show this because this is another one of the one of Pope Francis's closest allies. Canadian Cardinal and close advisor to Pope Francis, Michael Zerny, says he's unhappy with the direction the conclave is heading in. Michael Zerny of Canada, who was one of Francis' closest advisors, but it means reversal. For those who oppose Francis, many of them appointed by his predecessor Benedict XVI, united means a new introversion with the promise of unity solving all our problems. If you ask me, how would you name the wrong track for the conclave? I would say you have the idea that unity is the priority, said Cardinal Zerny, who said under Francis led the office for promoting integral human development. Unity cannot be unity cannot be a priority issue. So the unity of churches shouldn't be a priority issue. It's something else. Like that's the kind of the problem with these people, though. It's that liberal leftist mentality. But yeah. So with that being said, hopefully guys like this don't get their way at the conclave. I'm feeling hopefully optimistic about this conclave, but I'm not. I've heard too many things from people that know far more than me to say expect things to get worse. Um, so I don't know. At least in some of the digging that I've done and some of the reading I've done and looking at some of these things, it looks like there's a chance. It looks like even some of these liberals like Dolan are like, you know what, guys, maybe let's go back to Benedict. Let's just take it back to Benedict. Benedict was no conservative tyrant, um, but he was definitely no Francis. And like I said, I'd be happy going back to Benedict. It's just got to slowly walk it back for these people, man. Just slowly reel it in, and soon we'll be rid of the boomers and these kinds of people in the church. 20 more years. Give it 20 more years, people. I don't know. So I said, if we could get a pizza balla in there as a Benedict the 17th, you know what I mean? We'd have a good solid 30 years of that, get down to work the funk out of the church and slowly start walking people back towards tradition. And, we'd be right back on track. So, but yeah, pray for the conclave, pray for the Cardinals. And just keep praying. That's all we can do. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate you guys coming in and watching us on a Tuesday night. God bless all of you. And I will see you guys tomorrow with Emily. Have a wonderful evening.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a